Welcome back to Blasters and Dreams. Sorry, we're having some video difficulties this time, so it's going to be audio only, no looking at my face for the next 6 or 7 minutes, which for some of you is going to be a drastic improvement over the last few episodes. Hopefully we can get that fixed soon. This is the second installment of a little series I'm doing called 6 Minutes with Mando. We're going to break the video down into 3 segments, just like the last video. Now, if you didn't catch that last video, putting a little card up in the corner so you can go check that out once you're done with this one. Just like then, we're going to break things down into the good, which is my favorite part of the episode, obviously. The bad, something that could have been a little bit better. And the beskar, which is where we're going to take a small piece of the episode and do a little bit of a deeper dive into some of the lore or background behind one of those things. So let's get right into it. First of all, the good. Man, this episode was good top to bottom. But, and with all due respect to the child and using of the Force at the end, my favorite thing about this episode is the battle on the sandcrawler. Mando comes back with the child. He gets back to the Razor Crest. He's getting ready. Oh, he can't go anywhere because, well, let's face it, the Razor Crest is on blocks in the front yard. It's being stripped for parts. He disintegrates a few of them. They take off in an iconic piece of Star Wars vehicle lore, the sandcrawler, which we saw all the way back in A New Hope. And the assault on the one-man assault on the sandcrawler begins. It's so much fun. I mean, we get a callback to Indiana Jones when he's trying to climb up in the initial part of the ascent, and the Jawas try to rub him against the wall, similar to Indy on the tank. They fail. He keeps ascending. They're just throwing the kitchen sink at him over the side. We do see an R5 droid later. I would have loved to have seen part of our old R5-D4 being thrown over the side at him, but obviously this isn't the same sandcrawler. It's shocking him, everything. He finally gets to the top. And one of the things I love about this sequence, I mean, it's so much fun. The music is great. I love it that when he gets to the top, he doesn't succeed. He encounters, it seems like dozens of Jawas, at least a dozen of them. They all electrocute him at the same time. They stun him. He falls. Somehow survives that fall. That Beskar's got a lot more magic in it than I thought. But I just like the fact that he's not invincible. This is something that makes sense. It's one of the problems, I think, with the most recent trilogy is like the good guys seem to be somewhat invincible. And here we see him try his best and it doesn't succeed. I just love the sandcrawler fight. The bad was hard for me to find, but it is something that my wife and I both commented on almost at the same time when we watched the episode back recently. When he's fighting the Mudhorn, this massive beast, which is just having its way with him, just wrecking his day. The last thing that he has in his arsenal that's still working is his knife, which, I don't know, maybe 8 to 10 inches long. And he stabs the Mudhorn sort of in the side, like sort of in the neck, doesn't completely stab him all the way. And that one little stab was enough to either completely incapacitate or just kill in that first stroke this creature that it seems like its hide was probably so thick that that little stab wouldn't have even gotten through the hide, much less into a vital organ. I don't know, the fight had to end somehow. And after the magic of the child rescuing him with the Force, they probably didn't want to drag the scene out any farther. But I don't know, that last fatal blow just seemed like it was a little bit too easy considering how poorly the rest of the battle had been going. And the last part about this is the beskar, the bit of Star Wars lore that I really enjoyed, and that's the Disruptor rifle. I mean, yeah, using the Force was great. The sandcrawler is amazing. There were so many like nods back to, the original trilogy and things we love about Star Wars. But that Disruptor rifle, the Ambin sniper rifle, thank you very much, Star Wars Databank, was just so cool. Now, if you haven't seen it, this isn't the first time we've seen the sniper rifle. If you go back and watch the Star Wars Holiday Special, if you can try to avoid most of it, but if you watch the cartoon that's in the middle of it, it's our first introduction to Boba Fett. And he has something very similar. It's the same rifle. It looks a little bit different thanks to it being a cartoon. But he uses the rifle in the exact same way that we see the Mandalorian use it in the first episode. to shock and incapacitate an amphibious creature. It was a nice throwback in chapter 1 back to how we see the rifle used back in the holiday special. The rifle's got 3 modes of attack. We saw the shock, the electrocution side. Later on in a couple of episodes, we see it used just as a regular blaster. But what we see in this episode is so amazing, and that's the Disruptor, the disintegration blast. And it was so surprising. I mean, he gets the Trandoshan early on when he's rescuing the child, and then he starts picking off Jawas one at a time. And it's the sound, the visuals, the impact of the bolt. It was such a surprising and great moment. I just love this rifle. The more we see of it, the better. I mean, hopefully he's able to get his ammunition replenished, because I want to see this thing used as often as possible. All right, that's the end of this episode of 6 Minutes with Mando. If you liked what you saw or heard, go ahead and hit subscribe and hit the bell below so you don't miss any notifications. Like the video, comment below. Let me know what your favorite part, least favorite part, and what your favorite bit of Star Wars lore was from this episode. Let's have a conversation with that in the comments below. And stay tuned next week when I come back with Chapter 3 of 6 Minutes with Mando here on Blasters and Dreams. Thanks, everybody.